The Galactic War had finally ended, but the scars of battle still covered every world it touched. Human cities were half broken. Alien colonies were silent and empty. Space was full of dead ships that floated like ghosts. Everyone said the galaxy was safe now, but deep inside, many people felt the war had ended too fast, too suddenly, like something powerful had stopped it before the final blow. Commander Rian Holt never trusted sudden peace. He had fought for 7 long years and survived places where no soldier ever came back. Now he was being sent to a remote outpost far from human space. His ship landed in the middle of a ruined alien village. The wind carried dust and strange whispers. The sky was dark, even though it was daytime. Rian stepped outside with his visor on and scanned the area. No enemies. No life. Only silence. He was told his new assignment was simple. Protect the girl. Escort her to a secure human base. Nothing more. But when Rian saw the girl for the first time, he felt something inside him freeze. She stood alone near an old pillar, her small hands folded in front of her. She looked no older than 12, with pale blue skin and silver eyes that reflected every movement around her. She did not smile. She did not blink. She only watched him with a calm face, as if she already knew him. Her name was Lyra. A strange energy moved around her like air that refused to stay still. Machines near her body made soft humming sounds even though they were broken and without power. Rian felt uneasy. He had seen powerful alien weapons, but never a living child who made machines come alive by just standing near them. When he approached her, she stepped back, not afraid, but careful, as if she was trying to measure who he was. Rian tried to talk to her, but she did not answer. She only looked at him with those silver eyes that felt too old for a child's face. He wondered how many things she had seen in the war. Or what she had done. The commanding officer who handed her over gave no clear instruction. He only said one thing. Do not lose her. Do not question why she must be protected. And stay alert. Others are looking for her. Rian did not like missions with missing information, but he had no choice. He took Lyra and began the long journey back to human territory. The first night, they stopped at a destroyed bunker to rest. Rian kept a small fire burning while checking his weapon. Lyra sat quiet in a corner, watching the flames. She did not speak, but Rian noticed she kept glancing at the shadows outside, as if expecting something to appear. When he asked if she was scared, she slowly shook her head. But Rian knew fear when he saw it. The slight tremble in her fingers. The way she held her breath when the wind pushed the bunker doors. This was not normal fear. This was fear of something she knew very well. Hours passed before Rian finally fell asleep. But something woke him in the middle of the night. A soft blue light filled the bunker. He reached for his rifle and stood up at once. Lyra was gone. Rian ran outside and saw her standing on a small hill near the bunker. Her hands were glowing with the same blue light. Her hair floated as if caught in a strong current, even though the wind was still. The ground around her pulsed with strange energy patterns like ripples on water. Rian froze. He had never seen anything like this. Lyra slowly raised her head toward the sky. Her silver eyes shined like stars. And then she whispered words so soft that Rian almost did not hear them. They are coming for me. Her voice was full of sorrow, not fear. As if she had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Rian looked up at the sky. It was dark. Quiet. Empty. But he felt something in the air shift. A pressure building. A warning that something powerful was moving closer. The ground vibrated gently, like a giant heartbeat under the soil. Who is coming? Rian asked. Lyra lowered her hands and the blue glow faded. She turned toward him with a face that looked suddenly older, tired, and full of secrets she never wanted to share. The ones who made me, she said. The ones who want me back. Rian's heartbeat quickened. Made her? What did that even mean? She was a child, right? Lyra stepped closer to him, her voice calm but heavy. They will not stop. They will not rest. They will take me. And everyone near me will die. Rian felt cold wind hit his back as if the night itself reacted to her words. He finally understood one terrifying truth. He was not protecting Lyra from the galaxy. He was protecting the galaxy from something connected to her. And now whatever that was coming straight for them. Rian did not sleep again that night. He sat near the bunker door with his rifle ready while Lyra rested inside. The world around them felt wrong, too quiet, like the air was waiting for something terrible. The dust on the ground moved in small circles, pulled by an unseen force. Even the broken machines nearby flickered with faint light whenever Lyra breathed. Rian kept replaying her words in his mind. They are coming for me. Made her. Take her back. What exactly was she? The next morning, the sky looked darker than before, filled with heavy clouds even though weather reports said this region should be clear. Rian tried to contact command again, but his device only released a buzzing noise, as if something was jamming the signal. That made him even more alert. Someone or something did not want him talking to anyone. Lyra walked beside him silently as they moved through the ruined valley. Rian noticed she always kept her eyes on the mountains, scanning the shadows, listening to sounds only she could hear. He finally spoke. Lyra, what are you afraid of? She did not answer at first. She looked at a broken alien tower far away, like she was remembering something painful. After a long minute she said, they can feel where I am. Every time I use my power, they get closer. Rian's steps slowed. He wanted to ask more, but the fear in her voice made him stop. She wasn't lying. She wasn't playing some game. She truly believed something was hunting her. And in war, instinct was often the only truth. As they moved deeper into the valley, the ground began to change. Marks appeared on the soil, long scratches, deep and sharp, as if metal claws had dragged across the earth. Rian bent down to inspect one. It was fresh. Tracks, he whispered. From what? Lyra's voice trembled for the first time. Not what, who? Rian stood upright immediately, scanning the area. He saw nothing but ruins and dust, but he felt eyes on them. Watching. Waiting. They hurried forward, and after 2 hours reached an abandoned research station. Its walls were cracked, doors half torn off, wires hanging like dead vines. But inside, the air felt different, colder, heavier, filled with the smell of burned machinery. Rian moved carefully through the dark hall with his gun out. Lyra stayed behind him, her small footsteps almost silent. Inside the main chamber, Rian found something that froze his blood. 3 armored soldiers lay on the floor, their suits crushed inward like they were squeezed by incredible force. Their visors were shattered. Their weapons bent like soft metal. These were not old bodies. They were still warm. Someone had killed them not long ago. Lyra stared at the bodies with sad, lonely eyes. They were looking for me, she whispered. Rian turned to her quickly. Did you know them? No, she said. But they knew me. That answer only made things worse. Before Rian could ask anything else, a metallic clicking sound echoed through the hallway. Not footsteps. Not breathing. Something else. Something mechanical. Something hunting. Rian held his breath, listening. The clicking grew louder, coming toward them. Lyra, he said quietly, stay behind me. She nodded, gripping his coat tightly. A shadow appeared at the far end of the hall. Tall. Thin. Moving with smooth, unnatural speed. Its eyes glowed red like burning coal. As it stepped into the light, Rian felt a chill run down his spine. It was not human. It was not alien. It looked like a metal creature built for tracking, its body covered in dark plates, its arms long and sharp. It scanned the room with a high-pitched whine until its gaze locked on Lyra. Lyra gasped softly. It found me. The creature stepped forward, but not to attack. It dropped to one knee and bowed its head to her. Rian froze. This made no sense. Why is it doing that? He whispered. Lyra shook her head slowly. It is one of theirs. A seeker. It comes to take me back. Those words pushed Rian into action. He fired a warning shot at the creature's feet. The creature lifted its head at the sound, its red eyes focusing on Rian now. Stay away from her. Rian shouted. The creature did not speak, but a metallic voice echoed inside Rian's helmet, transmitted through unknown frequency. Return the catalyst. She belongs to us. Catalyst. That word hit Rian like a punch. He had heard it only once, whispered in secret military reports about a being connected to catastrophic energy events during the war. A being that could activate ancient weapons. A being powerful enough to end entire fleets. Rian stepped back, the truth forming in his mind. Lyra was that being. But she was just a child. Or at least she looked like one. Before Rian could think, the creature stood and extended a clawed hand toward Lyra. Come. The galaxy is not safe while you remain free. Lyra grabbed Rian's arm, her voice shaking. Please, don't let them take me. In that moment, Rian had a choice. Obey fear, or protect her. And Rian Holt never ran from a fight. He raised his gun and said, if you want her, you'll have to go through me. The creature's eyes brightened. So be it. And the room exploded into chaos. The seeker moved faster than Rian expected. 1 second it stood at the far end of the chamber, and the next it was right in front of him, metal claws slicing through the air. Rian barely rolled aside as the creature's strike hit the wall, smashing it open like paper. Dust and debris exploded everywhere. Lyra covered her face as broken metal flew across the room. Rian fired again, but the bullets bounced off the seeker's armor. It didn't even turn its head. It only kept repeating the same cold message inside Rian's helmet. Return the catalyst. Return the catalyst. Rian switched weapons and threw a shock grenade. The blast hit the seeker with bright blue sparks, slowing it for a few seconds. Its body shook violently, the red lights in its eyes flickering. That moment was all Rian needed. Run, he shouted. Lyra didn't hesitate. She followed him through the dark hallway as the seeker recovered and began chasing them again, its metal footsteps echoing like thunder. Rian could hear its claws scraping the floor. It was not running. It was hunting. The research station's corridors twisted like a maze. Broken lights blinked in the ceiling. Strange symbols were painted on the walls, symbols Rian didn't recognize. Old alien tech hummed weakly as Lyra passed by, reacting to her presence like she was a forgotten command. Machines came alive for a second and then died again. Rian forced open a door and pushed Lyra inside. They entered a large circular room with a collapsed roof. Sunlight poured through the cracks above, lighting the dust in the air. A huge sphere-shaped machine sat in the center, half buried in rubble. Lyra stared at it with wide eyes. I know this place, she whispered. Rian looked at her sharply. What do you mean? This station, this machine, it was built for me. Rian felt his stomach tighten. For you? When? Before the war, she said softly. Before I escaped. Rian didn't have time to ask anything else. The seeker crashed through the door behind them. The impact sent pieces of the wall flying. Lyra screamed. Rian pulled her behind the machine and fired again, trying to keep the creature away from her. The seeker scanned the room. Its red eyes glowed brighter when it saw the machine in the center. Rian could hear it whispering something in an ancient alien language. Lyra understood it. "It is calling the others," she whispered. Rian clenched his jaw. "Others? How many?" "Too many," Lyra said. "If they reach me, the galaxy will suffer again." The machine behind them suddenly activated. Lights flashed along its curves. Old wires sparked. A low hum filled the room. Rian stepped back, confused, until he realized Lyra was touching the machine gently with her fingertips. The reaction was not random. Lyra was waking it. "Lyra, stop," Rian said. "You don't even know what this thing does." "I do," she said without looking at him. "It was made to hide me. It can shield my energy. The Seekers will not sense me if I go inside." Rian stared at the spherical machine. A hatch on its side slowly opened, revealing a dark interior big enough for a child. Rian understood what this place was now. A prison. A cradle. A hiding chamber. "Go inside," he said. "I'll hold it off." Lyra shook her head. "No. You will die." "Better me than you," Rian said. Before Lyra could argue, the Seeker attacked again. Rian jumped in front to block it. He raised his rifle to parry the strike, but the Seeker's claw sliced the gun in half like butter. Rian stumbled back. The Seeker grabbed him by the throat and lifted him off the ground. His vision blurred as he struggled to breathe. The metallic voice echoed through his helmet again. "Human. Your resistance is useless. The catalyst must return. Release her." Rian kicked the Seeker's chest, but it didn't move. His strength was fading. The edges of his vision turned black. Then Lyra screamed. The Seeker dropped Rian instantly and turned toward her. Lyra stood in front of the machine, her body shaking with fear and anger. Her hands glowed bright blue. Pulses of energy formed around her like waves. "Stay away from him," she cried. The Seeker charged at her, but before it could reach her, a burst of energy exploded from Lyra's body, throwing the creature across the room. It slammed into the wall, leaving a huge dent. The red glow in its eyes flickered, then turned dark. Rian coughed and pulled himself up. Lyra collapsed to her knees, breathing heavily. The machine behind her slowly closed its hatch again, responding to the energy she released. "Lyra, what did you just do?" Rian whispered. She shook her head weakly. I can't control it. When I feel strong fear, the power comes out." Rian helped her stand. He wanted to tell her it was okay, but he didn't know if it really was. She had knocked down a creature made of solid metal with a single burst. What else could she do? Before he could speak, a warning alarm inside the research station activated. A robotic voice announced in a broken, static-filled tone. "Multiple signatures detected. Incoming vessels. Incoming vessels." Rian checked his scanner. His heart dropped. At least 5 ships were descending toward the station. They weren't human. "Lyra," he said, grabbing her shoulder. "We need to leave. Now." Lyra looked at the sky through the broken ceiling. Shadows moved inside the clouds. "They found me," she whispered. "The others are here." Rian loaded his weapon, even though he knew it wouldn't be enough. "Then we'll run," he said. "And we'll keep running until I find a way to keep you safe." Lyra looked at him with trembling eyes. "Why are you helping me?" Rian took a deep breath. "Because you asked me to." She stepped closer. "I don't want anyone to die because of me." Rian shook his head. "Then you stay with me. And you don't give up. Understand?" Lyra nodded, wiping her eyes. Outside, the sky lit up with blue fire as the enemy ships broke through the clouds. The hunt had truly begun. The sky cracked open with the sound of burning engines as the enemy ships descended. Blue fire streaked across the clouds, lighting the ruined valley in a strange glow. Rian grabbed Lyra's wrist and pulled her toward the back exit of the station. He could already feel the ground shaking as the ships landed nearby. "We won't survive if we stay here," he said calmly, even though his pulse raced. Lyra stumbled beside him, still weak from releasing her power. "They will find me no matter where we go," she whispered. "Maybe," Rian replied, "but we won't make it easy." They slipped through a broken wall and escaped into the open valley. Dust swirled around them. Strange symbols on the rocks glowed faintly, as if reacting to the ships above. Lyra kept looking up at the sky, her silver eyes full of fear. Huge shadows fell over them as 5 tall figures dropped from the ships. They were not robots like the Seeker, they were living beings. Their bodies were thin and elegant, their faces hidden behind shining masks. Their armor looked like living metal that pulsed with light. Each of them carried a long staff that crackled with energy. Lyra froze. Rian lowered his weapon and whispered, "Who are they?" She swallowed hard. "The Architects." The name meant nothing to Rian, but he could feel the weight behind it. These were not simple soldiers. They moved with purpose, confidence, and a strange coldness that made the air grow heavy. The center figure stepped forward. Its mask shifted with glowing patterns, forming the shape of eyes that stared directly at Lyra. "We have come for the catalyst," the voice said, deep and echoing like it came from multiple throats. "You cannot run from your makers." Lyra pressed herself against Rian's side. Her hands shook. She looked so small, yet Rian knew what kind of power hid inside her. He still didn't fully understand it, but he knew one thing for sure: she was terrified of them. Rian pointed his rifle at the lead architect. "She's not going anywhere with you." The architect tilted its head slowly, as if confused. "Human, you do not understand what she is." "I understand enough," Rian replied. "She doesn't want to go." "That's enough for me." The architect raised its staff. The air shimmered around it. Rian tightened his grip on the trigger, knowing it wouldn't help. Lyra stepped forward suddenly. "Stop," she said softly. "Please. Don't hurt him." The architect lowered its staff a little. "Lyra," it said, using her name. "You were created for a purpose. Your energy can awaken the ancient doors. You are the key. Without you, the galaxy will fall into chaos." Rian frowned. "What doors?" Lyra shook her head. "They are lying." The architect turned to her sharply. "We do not lie. You were designed to bring order. To activate the celestial gates and control the power beyond them. Without you, the galaxy will destroy itself." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "No. You want to use me. You want to make me hurt people again." Rian looked at her. "Again? Lyra, what did you do?" She backed away, shaking. "I didn't want to, Rian. They made me release the wave. They told me it would stop the war. They didn't tell me millions would die." Rian's breath caught. Lyra's voice cracked as she continued. "I ran away. I hid. I didn't want to be their weapon anymore." The architect stepped forward. "The wave saved the galaxy," it said. "Sacrifice is necessary." Rian raised his gun again. "She's not your tool." The architect lifted its staff. Energy crackled at the tip. "You cannot protect her, human. You cannot protect something that was never meant to be free." The ground trembled. Lyra's body glowed faintly. Rian saw it immediately: her fear was triggering her power again. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "Lyra. Look at me." She looked up at him, shaking. "You're not alone," he said. "You're not a weapon. You're a person. And I will protect you. No matter what." Her glow softened, controlled. But her fear was still strong. The architect noticed the shift and raised its staff higher. If she will not come willingly, she will be taken by force. Rian stepped in front of her. Try it. The valley exploded with light as 3 architects struck the ground with their staffs. Shockwaves blasted toward Rian and Lyra. Rian grabbed her and rolled behind a large rock, barely avoiding the blast. The shockwave carved a deep crack in the earth where they stood seconds ago. Rian whispered urgently, "We need to move. Now." Lyra nodded weakly, but she could barely stand. Rian lifted her into his arms and ran toward a narrow canyon. The architects chased them, moving with unnatural speed. Their staffs shot beams of blue energy that sliced through rock like butter. One beam hit the ground near Rian, sending him flying. Lyra tumbled from his arms, landing hard on the dusty ground. Rian groaned, but forced himself to stand. He crawled toward her. Another architect aimed at Lyra. Rian threw himself in front of her, expecting to die. But something strange happened. The beam of energy stopped inches from Rian's chest, frozen in midair like time itself paused. The energy twisted, bent, and snapped back toward the architect who fired it. Lyra was standing behind Rian now, eyes glowing white. "No more," she whispered. The energy shot back and hit the architect, sending it crashing into the valley wall. Rian stared at her in shock. She looked different, strong, calm, but with sadness in her eyes. The remaining architects hesitated. Lyra spoke softly. "If you want to take me, then you will have to destroy everything in your path. Because I will not go." The leader raised its staff. "Then you leave us no choice." But before the architects could attack again, the ground beneath them split open. A massive structure began rising from below, ancient metal, glowing symbols, and a door taller than any ship Rian had ever seen. Lyra's voice trembled. They awakened it, the Celestial Gate. Rian stared at the enormous rising structure. "What does that mean?" he asked. Lyra slowly turned toward him. "It means the real danger is about to begin." The massive structure rose from the cracked ground like a giant waking from sleep. Dust fell in waves as metal plates unfolded and glowing runes lit up the valley. The Celestial Gate towered above everything, tall as a mountain, wide as a city, humming with ancient power. Rian stared up at it, unable to breathe for a moment. He had never seen anything so huge. So alive. The entire valley trembled under its weight. Lyra stepped beside him, her silver eyes reflecting the blue glow of the gate. "It knew I was here," she whispered. "It woke because of me." Rian swallowed hard. "What does it do?" Lyra hugged her arms tightly. "It opens a path to a power beyond the galaxy, something no one can control. Not even them." The architects stood at the edge of the valley, silent, watching the gate rise. Their masks shifted with new glowing patterns, patterns that looked almost like excitement. The leader lifted its staff. "The gate has awakened. The catalyst must activate it." Lyra shook her head. "I won't." The architect tilted its head. "You were created for this purpose." "I was created to destroy," Lyra whispered. "I will not do it again." Rian stepped forward, positioning himself between her and the architects. "You don't get to decide her life." The leader's voice echoed through the valley. "Human, your bravery is meaningless. You stand in front of forces you cannot understand." "Try me," Rian said. The architects raised their staffs in perfect unison. Blue lightning shot into the sky, forming a massive circle above the gate. The air twisted, the ground cracked deeper, and strange symbols carved themselves into the stone around them. Lyra cried out and fell to her knees, clutching her head. Rian rushed to her side. "What's happening?" he asked. "They're trying to force the gate to read my energy," Lyra said, shaking. "If it does, it will open." Rian looked at the architects, then back at Lyra. Tell me how to stop it. She shook her head. You can't. Only I can. Rian held her shoulders gently. Then don't let them control you. Tears ran down her face. I'm scared, Rian. Look at me, he said. She lifted her eyes. You're not alone, he whispered. Not anymore. A soft blue glow surrounded her, but this time it wasn't wild or violent. It was calm. Controlled. She stood slowly, wiping her tears, then faced the gate. The leader spoke again. Catalyst. Complete your function. Lyra raised her hand, and the glowing runes around the gate dimmed. No, she said quietly. The architects froze. Rian's heart pounded. Lyra's power was resisting them. The leader lowered its staff. You endanger the galaxy with your disobedience. Lyra's voice cracked. I choose my own path. The architects charged forward at once, their staffs firing beams of concentrated light. Rian pulled Lyra behind a boulder as explosions shook the valley. The rock shattered under the impact. Dust filled the air. Rian dragged Lyra toward the canyon, but a bolt struck the ground near them, throwing them backward. He hit the dirt hard, vision spinning. The leader approached, towering over them. You will open the gate. Or you will be terminated. Lyra crawled toward Rian, her little hands shaking. I don't want to hurt anyone. Rian whispered, You won't. I trust you. The leader raised its staff. A loud cracking sound boomed across the valley. The gate itself was reacting, pulsing with stronger light, as if responding to Lyra's energy and the architect's attack. The symbols glowed like fire. The ground split open even wider. Then it happened. Lyra stood up, her body glowing bright white. Her hair floated upward. Her eyes turned into pure light. Stop hurting him, she screamed. A massive wave of energy exploded outward, creating a shockwave that threw the architects in all directions. Their armor cracked. Their masks shattered. The valley shook violently. Rian covered his head, unable to see through the blinding light. When the glow finally faded, Rian opened his eyes. Lyra stood in the center of a scorched circle, breathing hard. The architects struggled to stand, their armor flickering. The leader pointed a broken staff at her. You cannot escape your nature. You are the catalyst. You were forged to obey. Lyra stared at them, trembling. I am done obeying. The gate behind her responded to her words. The runes faded. The humming stopped. The entire structure slowly sank back into the ground. The architects gasped. They tried to reactivate their staffs, but nothing worked. Lyra had shut the gate down. Rian ran to her and caught her before she collapsed. She looked exhausted, barely conscious. You did it, he whispered. You stopped them. Lyra's voice was weak. Rian. I'm still dangerous. He shook his head. No. You're strong. And you're free. The remaining architects limped back to their ship. Before leaving, the leader spoke one last time. This is not over. We will return for the catalyst. The galaxy cannot withstand her existence. Rian shouted back, You'll have to get through me. The ships rose into the sky and disappeared into the clouds, leaving silence behind. Rian sat beside Lyra, holding her gently as the sun rose over the ruined valley. She leaned against him with tired eyes. What happens now? She asked. Rian looked at the horizon. Now, he said softly, we run. We hide. We fight. Whatever it takes. Lyra closed her eyes. As long as you stay with me. Rian smiled faintly. I'm not going anywhere. The wind blew softly across the valley. The danger wasn't gone. The architects would return. The galaxy would hunt her again. But for the first time, Lyra wasn't alone. And Rian Holt wasn't protecting her because of orders. He was protecting her because she deserved to live. Because she deserved a future. Because she was more than a weapon. The story of the Catalyst had only just begun.